Alright everyone, we've got a lot of goofy fruits from the media saying, oh, bullying is being normalized online, there's a troll culture and there's sexism and homophobia and racism, bigotry, every kind under the sun. And in reality, if you look, the number of people that are interested in trolling, and I don't mean like, the more lighthearted trolling happens all the time, just the general shit posting. People who are totally mainstream do this, like Sean Hannity shit posts against people online. He's old and boring and works for a corporation. I'm talking the more virulent manner of trolling, like, it's not even really trolling, it's really cyber harassment that goes beyond just for the lulz or for some sort of just cause. I'm talking about, you know, someone's made 100 accounts just to stalk somebody and piss them off online, something a little more obsessive than that. That's actually coming from the legacy media and, like, establishment politics at this point. Because people who aren't really necessarily fully in tune with internet culture, they don't understand how people on the internet could enjoy insulting one another, sometimes building a camaraderie in the process. They look at, like, the cable news, and all they see is constant personal insults of Trump, certainly of Ivanka, Melania, Barron Trump, constantly. Anytime someone steps out of line, like they're not gung-ho for globalism, they get totally lambasted by these freaks in the so-called free press. They're referring to themselves as the free press now, which is hilarious. You even know what the term press means? Now, supposedly, you people have journalism degrees. I'm assuming you studied some English language in there somewhere. You ought to know better than to think that the press means, oh, a multinational corporation employing people have a piece of paper saying that they understand journalistic ethics. It's really a lot more straightforward than that. It's the power of the printing press, as in the distribution of information. I'm engaging in an activity of the press right now. You may not like that. You may wish that it was different, that the First Amendment only covered business entities and their right to speak freely. Sorry, that's not the way that it works legally. Thank goodness it's not. No, the worst harassment that you're seeing, the normalization of insulting others and being just totally whacked out there, it's all coming from, like, the cable news generation. It's not coming from some teenager trolling on Reddit or 4chan. Those sites have their own subculture, and those subcultures are very, very troll-friendly, very, very clickbait-friendly, very, very harassment-friendly, I would say. Rating and doxing and all these things, if not encouraged, or at least par for the course. It's not that abnormal to see stuff like that on some of these sites. Certainly, you see it now on YouTube to an extent as well. I get people trying to harass me all the time. Only the fact that I'm basically ambivalent keeps people from doing it too often because they realize I don't really give a crap about it. But the people in the cable media, they do give a crap. Because any time that somebody insults them, they take it as a deep personal insult that is likely to denigrate their brands, and their response is lopsided. We see this with CNN. They get joked about in a video that gets tweeted out by Trump. What's their response? Oh, well, you know, the fact that we haven't released this person's identity, this person who may not have even concocted the video, by the way, and certainly there's no evidence Trump got it from him in the first place. Oh, if he rescinds his apology or makes more memes against us, we might have to reveal his identity. It's subject to change that we haven't done that yet. A clear, cut and dry case of blackmail. CNN and similar groups are the bullies in the world right now. They're trying actively to shut anybody up that disagrees with them. Now, it doesn't really work well against the alt media. So they choose instead to target individuals like Han Asshole Solo or whoever else who happen to piss upon them. And that's what they deserve. These are corporate entities. They're globalized multinational corporations. That's all that they are. The fact that they happen to have a license from the government to operate on cable, or someone has a license to operate on radio, does that really make them a better person? Is there any real intrinsic manner in which to say that it would be true that that person randomly sampled from the population of people who have journalism degrees or happen to get employment with Fox or MSNBC or CNN or whatever, or the Don Imus show? Is there any real reason why that individual should be different from any randomly sampled person from the population at large? Does it make them more ethical? I would say probably not, certainly. Does it make them more honest? No. Most of the people, the personalities that you see on TV that sit there, that you take a liking to, the Bill O'Reillys or Rachel Maddows or whatever, they wear a suit and something like that. They're delivering what they're saying from a teleprompter. They're not independent. That is, they get fed what to say by a machine that is being programmed by other individuals who you never even see. That smacks of dishonesty at its core to me. The very structure of corporate media, as far as cable and radio goes, is just something that I deeply distrust. No, I don't trust what they say, and don't think that this has something to do with, oh, I gotta defend President Trump or something. I was already distrustful of them in the Obama admin and the Bush admin and back into the Clinton admin. So it has nothing to do with the fact that the president is Donald Trump, but you have seen them get, honestly, more vicious. Their criticism of Bush was, no, Bush starts a war, kills 500,000 people, pisses away our economy, and starts the surveillance state up after 9/11 while being a bumbling idiot, supposedly, although I see that as a sly game that he played to keep people from talking about how evil and corrupt and warmongering he was. Sort of a play dumb act, because being dumb is better than being evil in the eyes of the public. They didn't rake him over the coals this much. After a while, they just started ignoring him. They didn't even talk about him. They're like, oh, he's a lame duck, and they stopped. As far as Donald Trump goes, every single day, there are 5 or 6 stories about how something that he did supposedly is terribly wrong. He shakes Putin's hand. Here's the new scoop of the day coming from CNN, being liberal and so forth. He shakes Vladimir Putin's hand and has a meeting with him. As a result, they're declaring, oh, Trump is subservient to Putin, or Trump is colluding with the Russians, or Trump something else under the sun. This is nuts. That's not journalism. I'm sorry, it's not. It's certainly not part of a free press, unless they're just taking liberty with the truth, stretching it beyond all boundaries. Okay, then I guess it's a freedom of the press. It's basically what you get from any tabloid, though. Just read The Sun, read The Inquirer or something. Inquirer is going to be more reliable on such issues at this point than some of these other so-called mainstream outlets. That's the real problem that we have in the country right now. Too many people trust these legacy outlets. The corporations. The businesses. Their model is, hey, we've got to make money. Their primary goal is not to inform or to hold government accountable. It's to make money. Which means if someone in the government wants to give them $1 million kickback, they're probably going to take it if they think they can get away with it. Yeah, we'll do a couple fluff stories on you. We'll talk about how your wife adopts shelter dogs and rehabilitates them and gives them to cancer kids and stuff like that. You know, just never mind the fact that you're trying to bribe us. Never mind the fact that you started a war or something. We'll do a fluff story about you and your wife and how wonderful you are. Your kids are stellar and they get straight A's. And you worked your way up from the upper middle class to being, you know, a 1/10 of 1%er. You're just such a wonderful person. Thank you for the free money. It's how they work. It's how they've always worked. It's not new. It's not like it just started. Some people... The big mistake they're making in attacking CNN or one of these groups, they're insinuating that the media only just became corrupt yesterday. That only for the last 6 or 7 months, well actually for the last couple of years, they've been corrupt and evil, but before that they were okay. No, they've been corrupt and evil for a very, very long time. The very structure of cable and radio as they are, as soon as you get government licensing and the declaration that those are public works, that's when you get problems. That's why the sort of counterpart to net neutrality, the concept of, oh, the internet is a public service, I deeply oppose that. I have no problem with the government saying simply ISPs can't throttle bandwidth. But I do disagree with declaring them public works. It should be totally privatized. We've got a privatized internet and it works well. You make it a public works and you're going to get cable 2.0. In other words, the government will come in, it'll legislate, yes, you can, this fee can go through and that one can't. We're going to tax this and we're going to tax that. You can say this, you can't say that. Anybody who is found objectionable gets kicked offline. That sort of bullshit. We should deeply oppose. I'm glad that net neutrality was torn apart in that form. Elements of it are fine. It's just like Obamacare. Pre-existing conditions, fine. Expanded coverage under parental plans, fine. Everything else can go. Everything else is unpopular, doesn't work, and makes no sense. It's the same with net neutrality. Cable's already been ruined, though. Why would you watch cable? There's YouTube. Yeah, video format. It's like, why would you listen to, like, a radio in your car, like FM radio or whatever? You can listen to Sirius. You get a lot, the music's better. There's a lot more choices. Generally comes through better anyway, much higher quality. If you want your talk, you can get a leftist opinion, you can get a right-wing opinion, you can get a libertarian opinion. Nobody cares. It's the same online. It's so much better. It's so much better than cable. YouTube is the replacement for cable news. Good. I hope these companies die off. But let's not pretend that bullying just suddenly became a thing online. It's been going on for a long time. You remember back, I think it was like 2008, Bill O'Reilly comes in and says, oh, this far-left 4chan enabling, I think he was talking about how they were enabling pedophiles at the time and stuff, and now they declare 4chan like the nest of the alt-right. It's how the times have changed. More like the groups that feel threatened by the internet have changed. Now it's CNN. Fox News at least partially made the switch over to the concept of putting a lot of their content on the web, leaving it open for commentary and stuff. CNN doesn't really do that. CNN locked everything down so it could have its echo chamber. That's their fault. It's their own fucking problem. They're a private company. Let them go bankrupt. I hope their advertisers do flee. I hope they get kicked out of the airports. I hope they get rocked by scandal after scandal, and I hope they get held accountable for their silliness. It's what they deserve. It's just a corporation. When did the idea, freedom of the press doesn't mean the right of a handful of corporations that form a cable monopoly to spread lies without repercussion. That's not what the First Amendment entails when it talks about the freedom of the press. It's the freedom of anyone to distribute information via book, via video, via radio, and on an audio form, whatever they happen to want to do. Anything not covered explicitly by speech, which is you're on a street corner talking to people directly, or in an interpersonal conversation. Anything else, anything related to the communication era is the freedom of the press. If it has anything to do with information at all. If you're just sitting there farting into a microphone, I'm not sure that you're expressing anything. Otherwise, yeah, you're distributing information. It's a right of the press. There's no attack on the free press right now. There's an attack upon a handful of corporate entities that happen to undergo the rights of the press. And, you know, you'd think that if they have journalistic ethics, there'd be rudimentary responsibilities with making the claim that they are news as opposed to just opinion and tabloid gossip. Apparently, nobody has noticed this yet. They think CNN is sacrosanct. They're beyond reproach because they have journalism degrees. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're the most reprehensible of all of them. That's going some. Look at who they're competing with for that title. People like Rachel Maddow, people like Bill O'Reilly, or Sean Hannity. Some people give Tucker Carlson a pass. I'm not going to give any of these pundits a pass. All these people do is read from a teleprompter. The fact that they can rant for 10 seconds unscripted doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything. There are 10,000 people on YouTube can do Tucker Carlson's job. Anybody could do Rachel Maddow's job or Kirsten Powers or any of these other idiots. That's about all. Peace out.